Suppose a basketball was dropped from the top of a house. The function approximates the distance d from the ground in feet of the ball in t seconds. So we know that distance from the ground is d, and t represents the seconds in this problem. So if we take a look at part A, it says find d of 1. So inside the parentheses here is the letter t. So that just means we are going to plug in a 1 for all the t's in the problem. Okay, so we're going to replace the t with 1. And then we're going to use our order of operations, so exponents first. So 1 to the second power is 1, then multiply by -4, and then add 36. So we would get 32. Okay, then we are asked to explain what this means. So since we plugged in for t, we plugged in the number 1 for t, and we are told that t is the seconds here, we know that the 1 went in for t, so t, the time, is 1 second. So we would put 1 second after the ball is dropped. So it says a basketball was being dropped. It says that the distance, so what we get from the ground. So 1 second after the ball is dropped, the basketball. So 1 second after the ball is dropped, the basketball is 32 feet from the ground. So again, we know the 32 represents the distance from the ground because it tells us right in the sentence in the problem. Okay, in the next part of the problem, in part B, it says when. So when means t. We have to find the time, how long it takes. So it says when. Will the basketball hit the ground? Well, that would be the distance. And so if the ball is on the ground, it's 0 feet from the ground. So that's how we know to plug in a 0. And we need to find what t value in this function here would give a distance of 0. So we need to solve this equation here. So one way to do it is we could do this and divide everything by -4. That would make the number smaller if we want, so we can do that. Or we could just start factoring since it equals 0. We could start with the GCF step. So the GCF would be -4. So then we could write it like this. And a negative times a negative is a positive. And then we have here a difference of 2 squares. So we'd have t plus 3 and t minus 3. So then we would set each equal to 0, each factor equal to 0. So we would have t plus 3 equal to 0, and we'd have t minus 3 equal to 0. So when we solve those equations, we would get t is 3, and then we would get that t is -3. Now, remember that t represents the time, so we can only have positive time in this problem here. So this is called extraneous. It does work. In other words, you could plug -3 into this problem. It would make 0, but it makes no sense in the context of this problem. So we're just going to keep 3. So it says, when will the ball hit the ground? And t is in seconds, so we would say 3 seconds.